Canada and the United States have recently taken bold actions that are dramatically altering trade relations between the two nations. One of the most notable moves came when Ontario cancelled its contract with Starlink and imposed a ban on American companies bidding for government contracts. This decision sent a clear message that Canada is taking a firm stance, asserting that the U.S. will not have unchecked access to Canadian markets. At the same time, the Liquor Control Board of Ontario, LCBO, the world's largest liquor retailer, stopped importing American alcohol right as new U.S. tariffs were being introduced. The immediate fallout from this decision was a heavy financial blow to American producers, resulting in a loss of nearly $1 billion in a single day. But Canada didn't stop there. In response to the U.S.'s trade policies, Canada implemented a 25% tariff on $155 billion worth of American goods, with $30 billion of those tariffs taking effect right away. This measure targets a broad range of products, including agricultural goods, automobiles, and household appliances. As a result, the cost of many items is rising on both sides of the border, creating added expenses for buyers and increasing pressure on U.S. businesses. Ontario's Premier, Doug Ford, took things even further by warning that if the U.S. continues down this path, Ontario might cut off electricity exports to its southern neighbor. This statement highlighted the extent to which Canada is willing to leverage its natural resources to protect its interests, making it clear that the country is ready to stand its ground. As American businesses grapple with these new tariffs and policies, they're now faced with difficult decisions: either absorb the financial losses or lobby for changes in U.S. policy. The economic tensions aren't limited to goods and services alone. The U.S. has also slapped tariffs on Canadian natural gas, adding about 10% to its price in the U.S. market. This move comes at a time when Europe is dealing with skyrocketing gas prices and unreliable energy supplies. With abundant natural gas reserves, Canada is emerging as a dependable energy partner for nations in need. A key project fueling this shift is LNG Canada, a massive initiative set to export up to 14 million tons of liquefied natural gas, LNG, annually once fully operational. This project underscores Canada's growing significance in the global energy market and promises to create thousands of jobs while cementing the country's role as a leading energy supplier. Geographically, Canada is uniquely positioned to ship LNG across both the Atlantic to Europe and the Pacific to Asia, providing multiple export routes and enhancing its strategic advantage. Meanwhile, the U.S., once a dominant force in the LNG market, is starting to feel the pressure. Policy changes and new tariffs have made American LNG about 15% less competitive in key markets, creating an opening for Canada to expand its influence. Mexico, too, is making moves by investing heavily in its LNG infrastructure, planning to boost capacity by over 20% in the near future. As competition intensifies, nations are racing to lower shipping costs, improve technology, and offer more attractive energy deals. Tensions between Canada and the U.S. aren't new, but they've reached new heights in recent years. When former President Trump imposed a 25% tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum, it sent shockwaves through Canadian industries and put a strain on the long-standing relationship between the two countries. Trump's sharp remarks questioning Canada's independence only fueled public outrage, prompting many Canadians to boycott American products and tourism. Supermarkets, stores, and local businesses began prioritizing Canadian-made goods, and families started rethinking their travel plans to the U.S. This grassroots movement wasn't just about buying local. It became a statement of national pride and defiance against what many saw as unfair U.S. policies. The impact was felt almost immediately, particularly in American states that rely on Canadian tourists, like Florida, Texas, and New York. Even iconic American brands, from bourbon whiskey to everyday consumer goods, started taking a hit as Canadians shifted their loyalty toward homegrown products. The boycott has only gained momentum with each new policy dispute. Canadians are making everyday choices to protect their values and assert their independence, filling their carts with local products and canceling vacations to the U.S. The effects are visible. from empty supermarket shelves to quieter tourist spots. This movement has become a powerful symbol of unity, a loud and clear message that Canada refuses to be pushed around by its larger neighbor. But the tension isn't confined to consumer habits. In a surprising turn, Canada proposed a 100% tariff on Tesla vehicles, a move that could reshape the North American auto industry. Tesla, which holds around 70% of the U.S. electric vehicle market, would see its Canadian prices double, making models like the Tesla Model 3 jump from around $40,000 to a staggering $80,000. Such a dramatic price increase would likely push Canadian buyers toward other brands, including European competitors. The auto industry as a whole could face serious disruptions. With over 2 million vehicles produced in Canada annually, many destined for U.S. markets, any further escalation of tariffs could result in factory shutdowns, job losses, and ripple effects across the entire North American economy. The Canadian auto sector alone is valued at around $50 billion a year, making this a high-stakes conflict with widespread consequences. These recent developments aren't just about tariffs or protecting corporate profits. They reflect a deeper fight over national sovereignty and respect. Every purchase of a Canadian-made product and every cancelled trip to the U.S. serves as a quiet form of resistance against policies perceived as disrespectful to Canada's independence. To make matters even more complex, the Trump administration recently increased tariffs on Chinese goods by 20%, further amplifying trade tensions. As the U.S. becomes more isolated, other global players are taking note and shifting their trade strategies. China, for instance, has begun reducing its reliance on American exports, turning instead to Canada and Europe for its supply chains. In a move that caught many by surprise, China turned to Canada as a new oil supplier after the U.S. imposed additional fees on Canadian oil. With an upgraded pipeline capable of moving nearly 3 times as much oil daily, Canada has become a reliable and cost-effective energy partner for China. Additionally, China is buying more Canadian LNG, thanks to the massive LNG Canada project, which is set to begin operations in 2025. This development could gradually edge the U.S. out of its dominant position in the energy market. Agriculture has also seen major shifts. Historically, China purchased large quantities of soybeans, wheat, corn, and cotton from the U.S., but now countries like Brazil, Argentina, Spain, and the Netherlands are stepping in to fill the gap. American farmers are left grappling with surplus crops, falling prices, and shrinking profits. Even the U.S. tech sector hasn't been spared. As China strengthens trade ties with Canada and Europe, major American tech companies are losing market share in one of the world's most lucrative markets. The broader implications are profound. If the U.S. continues on its current path, it risks pushing valuable trade partners further away while other nations strengthen their alliances. What we're witnessing is not just a trade dispute but a seismic shift in global commerce. As Canada and Europe rise to fill the void left by the U.S., the balance of economic power is shifting. These events could reshape global markets for years to come, potentially accelerating the transition to green energy and redefining long-standing trade relationships. The world is watching closely as these trade tensions unfold, knowing that the consequences will ripple far beyond North America.